Well, greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm here today with His Eminence Metropolitan Saba, who's the head of the Antiochian Orthodox Christian Archdiocese of North America. And today we're going to be discussing the priesthood in the Orthodox Church. Siedna, thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you for your invitation.
Thank God. So the occasion for our discussion is that on August 20th through 23rd, 2026, at the Antiochian Village in Pennsylvania, Ancient Faith Ministries, in conjunction with the Antiochian Archdiocese, is going to be putting on a vocations retreat titled, Do You Want to Be a Priest? And the purpose is going to be for men who are considering ordained ministry as clergy of the Antiochian Archdiocese to explore that desire by meeting His Eminence, by listening to clergy and clergy wives of the Archdiocese and getting their questions answered. And so these men's wives, their fiancés, or other supportive family members are also invited to come. So in our conversation today, I want to help begin that exploration by hearing what Siedna Saba has to say about the priesthood. So, Your Eminence, I thought we could begin by asking about your own life. So please tell me how you came to the priesthood yourself. What was it that was the driving factor that brought you to ordination?
I had several motives, but the main one is my brother. I am the oldest one in my family. I have one brother. He died in 2020. He was younger than me, about 5 years, but he was disabled. So he depended upon me in his life. When he was so young, since he was 2 months only, he used to have some crises, epilepsy, and something like that. So, and he suffered a lot. So, since I was 8 years old, I remember that I was moved so much by the pain I used to see in the faces of my dad and mom. And he's suffering. And very early, I started to ask some existential questions. Why is suffering? What is the goal of our life? Why we believe we live? Why we die? What is the meaning of death? And some questions. So, and I ask anyone I meet because I want to know the answer. I read any book I could have at that time. And I think because of this also I knocked on the door of religion or faith because I want to know. So I heard many answers, but I was not convinced so much by these answers. I still felt that pain, suffering is higher than these answers. So when I was between 15 and 16 years old, I remember once when in winter night, I was reading a book by Dostoevsky, Letters by Dostoevsky. One of his letters, he describes Christ, fantastic description. But in the first part, he describes Christ as a man, as a wise man, as a philosopher or something like that, apostle. And later he starts in a new paragraph in this way. He says, if I am completely convinced that Christ is in a valley and truth is in another valley, I would prefer Christ upon truth. At that time, I don't know what happened to me. I felt great, warm, hot love toward Christ. Later, after some years, my spiritual father told me that this is a touch of the Holy Spirit. And from that time, I started to read the gospel, focusing upon what Christ did and said. I discovered that he has an answer, and his answer was so different. Was not theoretical answer, not logical answer. He didn't search in the meaning of suffering. He met suffered people, and he tried to heal them, to counsel them, to help them. So, and from that time, I loved him so much, and I decided to do like him and to follow him. At first, my vocation was, and until now, I say that, and I wrote that in my book, that there is a small monk inside myself. I would like to be a monk, but I couldn't because of my brother. So I followed him, and then I discovered my vocation. I think this is the main motive.
Were there any holy people along the way who inspired your vocation?
Of course, they encouraged me, they helped me. I had the vocation because of what I told you. But those holy people I met, of course, helped me so much. And they support me to know my vocation and to be sure that it is real and it is true.
So if someone were new to the Orthodox faith, and I imagine that probably some of the people watching this have no idea what Orthodox Christianity is, or maybe have just heard a little bit about it. If they were new to the Orthodox faith and they said, what is an Orthodox priest? What would you say to them?
I love the definition of St. John Chrysostom of the priest. He says in his fantastic book about priesthood that the priest is an ambassador of God. And as an ambassador should represent his country, so the priest should represent his God. So I love this definition so much. And I think St. John Chrysostom had summarized the whole of priesthood ministry in this word.
So, I mean, as you and I both know, Orthodox clergy can do many kinds of tasks. But what is the task that is at the core, the thing that makes a priest a priest?
Yes, we say in the academic theology that the priest has three functions, or three roles, or three ministries. The sanctifying one, the teaching one, and pastoral one. I think the sanctifying one is the most important one.
So how would you describe that to someone? If they said, well, what does that mean, the sanctifying?
He is a man of sanctification. The priest should help people, feed people spiritually, to raise them up to be higher than the worldly people. Our call as a Christian is to live the heavenly kingdom here on earth. We believe that we cannot live it perfectly on earth, but we started it with Christ. This is our Christian call. So priests should help us to be more spiritual, to be more sanctified people, to be able to open ourselves to the grace of God. And this is done in the Orthodox Church through the sacraments. Baptism, Chrismation, and then Eucharist, confession, everything in the Orthodox Church, as you know, every service of prayer is a sacrament. The scholastic theology count 7 sacraments, but in the Orthodox Church, all the services we do as priests to bless anything is a sacrament, according to our theology and our understanding. So, priest is this man who bless by God's grace everything in our life. So our life become different because of the presence of God, because of this sacramental role of priest.
Yeah. So you also mentioned that a priest should be a teacher as a secondary.
Yes.
What kind of teaching is a priest to give?
He teaches us how to walk in the road of our salvation according to Christ and his gospel.
And since you offered this up as well, I just thought I would ask this as well. You said that the priest also has a pastoral role. What is the distinction there?
Pastoral role is to ask about his people, his flock, to visit the sick people, to listen to the sad people, to ask about his people, teach them, live with them, have joy with them and have sorrow with them. He is a father. We call him in the Orthodox Church father. And father means a father. Father has family, and he should take care of his family very well. He serves his family loyally, and he sacrifices himself for his family. This is a pastor. There is a very beautiful word in Arabic. I asked many people in America if we can find an exact word to this in English. We couldn't until now. We say in Arabic, افتقد. خدمة الافتقاد. It is the ministry of, in English we say visits. Visit, but it is not a visit. It is to ask about you. But not to ask about you, how are you? And no, to ask about you, I care with you. No? I am ready to sacrifice my life for you. For this reason, I visit you in the hospital. I visit you when you are tired. I visit you when you feel that you are guilty. But I ask about all your life because I am your father in Christ. It's very beautiful meaning in Arabic.
We'll have to work on an English equivalent. When you're, as a bishop, when you're considering a man for the priesthood, what kind of man are you looking for? What is his character? What would you want to say about him?
About the bishop?
About a man who could be a priest, the kind of priest you're looking for.
From my experience, I don't want to theorize or to theologize. From my experience, I think the most important two virtues or things priest has to have are to be a man of prayer and to be humble man. If he is humble, he can love, he can serve, he can sacrifice himself, and he can attract all people to be one. And if he is a man of prayer, he knows very well that he should do everything through God, not through his will, through God's will. So prayer helps us to give God the chance, a yard, to play his role. Prayer helps us to live and to know that We are servants of God, and we should do His will, not our will. I think those are the most important thing.
Mm.
And I try my best to look at our seminarians from these two viewpoints and to support them, to push them to be humble. It is not easy to be humble.
It is not easy.
And at the same time, it's not easy to be a man of prayer.
Indeed.
In this very pragmatic and practical and secular society.
Yeah. So if a man is thinking about, he's considering, the possibility of training for the priesthood, and if he's married, if his wife is also thinking with her husband, and
Yes.
What kind of preparation would you advise them to undertake in order to prepare for this possibility?
I advise them first to have one spiritual father or father confessor. One. To have one spirit and to pray together. Unfortunately, I know many good people who pray well, but everyone prays by himself. Not as one family, not one body, as we say about the couple. So it is good to pray together and to talk with each other. I advise all the married people, especially the priests, to dedicate the priests, especially, I advise them to dedicate one day for them, not for their parish. They need one day off. And to spend this day, half of this day, is for the priest himself, to read more spiritual readings, to pray more. And the half is for his wife and his family. Priest is a father, as we said, but he is also a father of a family, and he is a husband of a wife. So he should not forget this for the sake of his ministry. So this balance is very important. And of course, if his wife has no vocation of priesthood, it's very difficult for him to continue or to fulfill his ministry.
My spiritual father told me one time that the grace of the ministry of the priesthood for those of us who are married comes from within our marriages.
Yes.
And I've meditated on that a lot over the years.
Yeah, I say always to our priests that if we have a good priest, that means we have very good choriye behind him. So his wife is very important.
Amen. So you were a priest and then a metropolitan in Syria for many years. What experiences that you had there have prepared you for your priestly ministry here in North America?
Oh, it is a long story, Father.
Maybe give me the highlights.
Yes. Let me make it short. I am a demanded man, especially in the ministry of the priesthood. And I was a priest in very, very active parish. At the same time, it was rich by money. People are rich in general. And by piety.
Oh, thank
by
God.
Piety. It was an example parish. So then later I moved as a metropolitan to the poorest archdiocese by money and by piety. By piety, it is not so accurate. People are pious, but they were neglected for more than 100 years. Had no enough priests, no enough services. So they didn't use to pray, to live the liturgy, to celebrate regularly. So it was great difference between how I used to serve and how I has to serve as a metropolitan. So it was difficult for me so much. And I thanked many times to ask for retirement and come back to the monastery. But I didn't know the value of this ministry in this area except after I came to America. I can evaluate it better and I can see it clearly after I came to America. I discovered how I became a calm man, how I have peace because of this suffering I had in this archdiocese, how I have, I'm sorry to say that, I feel that I have love to embrace all the world. And at the same time, which is very important for me here in America, you know, the American society is so individual. So, and this is difficult for a man from the Middle East to come in my age. I was 63, 64 years old, to live in so different society. But because of these 24 years in my old archdiocese, it is small and very few people. The parish of the city where I was about 400 families only. When I was a priest, my parish was over than 1,000 families.
Wow.
So difference was so great. So I spent many years of my metropolitate have a long time. I can't visit, I can't work, I have no administrative work. So I used to write, to translate, to pray, to read, and to stay many hours in my room, in my office, and to stay some days in my chancery. I don't go out of my chancery, especially in winter. And later, after the war, I couldn't reach at all the parishes because of the war in Syria since 2011. So I discovered how they prepared me to live in America and to not feel solitude as a man from the Middle East come in this age to America.
So, connecting with that, considering the current cultural context of North America, what mission do you think the Orthodox priest has at this moment, here and now?
I think Orthodoxy in America should focus upon the core of the spirit of Orthodoxy. Of Orthodoxy. I mean by that, to live and witness to the real Orthodoxy. Orthodoxy is not just disciplines, not just to keep the old things, all old customs. There are great difference between what we call it in our faith, the holy tradition, and the good customs because of our faith. There are local or changeable traditions with small t, and there is capital T, which is holy tradition. I think we need to focus especially upon this, to live the mindset of Orthodoxy, to live the real, true spirituality of Orthodoxy. I don't prefer to use this word spirituality always, but in the context of our speech now, I think it is very important for us as Orthodox here in America. And we need also to focus upon how we can have balance between our faith and our values and the American values and American secular society.
What do you mean by that?
I mean by that we live in a secular society.
Yeah.
Many people don't differentiate between laity and secularism. Laity as a system, politic system, means separation between state and religion. But to live in secular society, secularism, means to live according to the value of this fallen world. Christ says in the Gospel of St. John, you are in this world, in the world, but you are not from this world. That means we don't follow the value and the understanding of this world because it is a fallen world. We are called as a Christian and Orthodox especially to raise up this fallen world and restore it to be a word of the heavenly kingdom, not to follow it. So we need to have a balance. I noticed that many of our good people, I mean the Orthodox people in America, either they cannot differentiate between their faith and the demands of their faith and the demands of the society they live in. Or another group, different group, they feel fear of the society they live in. And this is also not good, the bad thing. We should not fear anything. Always Christianity used to live in societies are not according to the gospel, even when our countries were called Christian countries. So we need, I think, as Orthodox to witness to the joy, to the victory of Christ over this fallen world. This is our call. I hope that we, the Orthodox people, focus more and more upon this task because the American society is so thirsty for such a spiritual life. The Orthodoxy has.
Amen. So I have one last question. So I'm sure there are probably some men who are watching this and their wives who are watching this, and they're thinking about this question: do I want to be a priest? Should I be a priest? And their wives are thinking, should my husband be a priest? Is this good for my family? What do you say to them?
I tell them, first, ask God in your daily prayer to inspire you, to give you a sign if He wants you to be a priest. And ask Him, let me know my vocation. But at the same time, I advise him, if you want to be a priest, to be like a Christ, go ahead. But if you don't to be a priest, to have some prestige, to have good job, to have, and I don't know what, and other things, don't think in priesthood. The church and people, our world, our society needs Christ-like. No one of us deserves to be like Christ, but we do our best. But if we don't believe that we should be like Christ, this is a disaster.
Thank you, Siedna, very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Father Andrew. God bless you. You work hard in the Ancient Faith.
Thank you.
And we support you and pray for you always.
Thank you. And thank you, all of you viewers and listeners, for tuning in. Again, the Vocations Retreat for the Antiochian Archdiocese is going to be held August 20th through 23rd, 2026 at the Antiochian Village. And you can read information about the retreat and register at store.ancientfaith.com/events. God bless you all.